Welcome to the 5-Minute Prime Podcast. Quick, actionable tips to master personal finance and real estate investing. In just 5 minutes a day, we'll help you build wealth and achieve financial freedom. Hey, Prime investors, Martin Maxwell here, and welcome back to the 5-Minute Prime Podcast. This is episode 66. Last week, we explored the sun-drenched markets of Portugal and Spain, focusing on lifestyle and growth. Today, we're continuing our European journey, but we're looking at an investment with a completely different angle. What if your next real estate deal came with a dual return? Not just the property itself, but also a powerful second residency in the European Union. For years, that has been the unique and compelling proposition of Greece. But the rules of the game have just changed dramatically. So today we're going to get real about what investing in Greece looks like in 2025, from its famous golden visa to its booming tourism market. For years, the main driver of foreign investment into Greece has been its golden visa program. It was simple. Buy a property for $250,000 and you and your family get a 5-year renewable residency permit, giving you the freedom to live in Greece and travel visa-free throughout the Schengen area. But let's be very clear. As of this year, the old simple rules are gone. The Greek government has introduced significant changes to address housing affordability for locals and for investors. This changes everything. Here's the new reality for 2025. The country is now divided into 3 tiers. In high-demand areas like central Athens, Mykonos, and Santorini, the investment threshold has skyrocketed to $800,000. In a second tier of desirable areas, the new minimum is $400,000. And in the rest of the country, the threshold remains at $250,000. But this is now limited to specific cases like renovating a historic building or converting a commercial property to residential use. But here's the biggest catch, and for many investors, it's a deal breaker. If you acquire a property to get the golden visa, you are now legally banned from renting it out on the short-term market. No more Airbnb, no more VRBO. You can only rent it out with a traditional long-term lease. This single rule fundamentally changes the investment math. So who is this investment for now? The profile has become much more specific. The primary buyer today is the residency strategist. This is someone whose main goal isn't cash flow, it's the visa itself. They want a foothold in the EU for personal freedom, for their children's education, or as a plan B. The property is simply the key to unlocking that residency. I was reading a discussion on an expat forum, and an American who just went through the process put it perfectly. He said, "Don't believe the marketing from agents promising 7% net yields on a hands-off golden visa apartment in Athens. It's a fantasy. After property management fees, taxes, and the fact you can't do short-term rentals, the real net yield is closer to 3%. You have to be honest with yourself. You are buying the residency, not a cash cow." This brings up the central question every potential investor in Greece must now ask. Are you buying a great property, or are you just buying an expensive passport? If the property doesn't stand on its own merits as a solid long-term hold, you might be overpaying simply to get the visa. This is where having a clear exit strategy, a concept we've talked about before, becomes absolutely critical. If your primary goal is the visa, you need to know how you'll manage or eventually sell the property in a way that makes financial sense. But even with these changes, there's still a compelling story here. Greece's real estate market is in a strong recovery phase. After the financial crisis, prices were incredibly low. Now they're on a steady upward trend, with some areas in Athens seeing double-digit price growth year over year. For investors who are not seeking the golden visa, this means there are still opportunities for capital appreciation, especially if you're willing to look beyond the absolute prime tourist spots. The booming tourism sector continues to fuel a strong rental market, particularly for those who can still operate short-term rentals outside of the golden visa restrictions. Okay, so let's say the residency is your primary goal and you're ready to move forward. How do you actually get it done in Greece? The process is well defined, but it requires diligence. Here's your starter kit. First, you need to get a Greek tax ID number, known as an AFM. Similar to the NIF in Portugal, this is your non-negotiable first step. You'll need it to open a bank account and to complete the property purchase. Second, hire your team, and your lawyer is the most important member. The Greek bureaucracy can be notoriously slow and complex. A good independent lawyer who specializes in real estate and immigration law is essential to navigate the process, conduct due diligence on the property, and handle the visa application. Third, you'll go through the purchase process. This typically involves signing a preliminary agreement and paying a deposit, usually 10%, then signing the final contract in front of a public notary. Your lawyer will guide you through the timatologio, or land registry, to ensure the property title is clear of any liens or disputes. And finally, understand the costs. On top of the property price, budget for about 7 to 10% in additional fees. This includes a property transfer tax of around 3%, plus notary fees, legal fees, and land registry fees. Also, be aware that as a non-EU citizen, you may need special permission to buy property in certain border areas, which can add time to the process. So let's bring it all home. Investing in Greece in 2025 is a very different game than it was just a year ago. With the new higher investment tiers and the ban on short-term rentals for golden visa properties, it's no longer the simple cash flow play it once was. It has evolved into a highly specialized strategy, primarily for those seeking a dual return, where the residency permit is the most valuable part of the equation. It's a world away from a pure yield play in Latin America or the stability play we'll discuss in Japan. It requires significant capital and a clear understanding that you're investing as much for freedom of movement as you are for financial return. Now, your challenge today: go to a Greek property portal like spitagatos.gr. I want you to look for a one-bedroom apartment in central Athens where the new $800,000 minimum applies. Then search for a similar apartment in a city like Patras, where the $250,000 threshold still exists for certain property types. This exercise will give you a stark real-world picture of how the new tiered system impacts the type of property you can acquire and forces you to think about whether the location is worth the premium. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Martin Maxwell. Keep learning, stay strategic, and keep building one smart move at a time.